lovers. Now that we are re-entering the phase of winter is coming, I'm so excited to read the fairy lore and literature books all the time. If you're new to the channel, this is me Yamini, and here we talk about books and coffee all the time. So today for you guys I have a couple of books that I've read recently which I'll be reviewing, and also there are a few series that I've been stuck to watching lately, so I do want to share their plots and stories with you as well. The first book that I have for you guys is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. It's actually a historical fiction revolving around the story of a young girl coming to age. Right from the childhood, she spent a lot of time in the scriptorium, which is basically a part of Oxford where the actual compilation of English Oxford Dictionary took place. Now, while she was growing up, she spent a lot of time playing under the table in the scriptorium while adults were working, where she developed a peculiar habit of collecting the slips. Now, these slips were actually the words that were meant to be included in the dictionary, or the ones that were not meant to be included and were thrown away. So, any kind of slip that she would ever find, whether dropped accidentally or thrown away purposely, she would collect them all for herself and keep them with her. Now, though this book is listed as a historical fiction, there are events and aspects included in the book that are inspired from the true story that happened while the compilation of actual Oxford English Dictionary was taking place. So this might be too close to the truth as well. And people actually have a lot of mixed opinions when it comes to this book. I am thankfully picking this up when I was in a literary mood. So this is not everyone's cup of tea, but it was definitely my cup of coffee. The second book that I read was an ARC named Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. This is a novella of a magical detective story revolving around hunting the vampires going across the city creating havoc. And chasing them is our main protagonist, who is an exiled warlock. Now, this warlock has actually made a deal with the devil in her past to save her brother's life. With elements of magic, contemporary setup, LGBTQ characters in it, and a vampire dealing with devils, etc., this was certainly an interesting pick for me to read this month. Now, considering that this was a novella, it was a decent read with diversified characters and a great plot to hold with it. I'm actually hoping that the author comes up with some series around this as well, now that the whole plot is actually built up. Another book that I read recently is buzzing all over the internet, all over the world, across me at least, and that is none other than It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now this, I think I should make a separate video around the overall duology and discuss the detailed aspects of both the books together with you, because you cannot simply review one part before actually giving you insights about the first part itself. But to give you a gist of the overall story, this is actually the aftermath of what happens when Lily and Ryle get separated and they have a kid, and the after story of how Lily and Atlas end up being back together. So that's what is. It was a okayish read for me, but I will reserve my overall thoughts to share with you guys in a next upcoming video. So stay tuned for that for a deeper insight. The next book that I have for you guys is My Best Friend Athena by Dana Hemmer. It's actually a middle grade book due for release in Feb 2023. This is the story of three best friends together going to a school, Gemma, Fanny and Athena. Now one day a new boy joins the school and he starts bullying Gemma. And after a lot of patience and retaliation, Athena loses her calm and actually ends up making him into a cockroach. Now things have been done and the secret of Athena is out now. So her friends are, while wondering that how she actually converted him into a cockroach, she has to confess the reality that she is not just a normal girl who is perfect in almost everything she does, but she's a reincarnated version of goddess Athena and daughter of Zeus. Now Zeus is very furious with his daughter for blowing up their cover, and now it's up to the two best friends to decide whether they want to stay away from Zeus's wrath and carry on with the school, or they want to help their best friend Athena, who has up until this date keeping secrets from them. Now I think that this book would be a great fit for people within the age group of 10 to 15. There are a lot of learnings and a lot of concepts that have been introduced to children in the right way possible. I have annotated a few of them, as you can see over here. The major ones being how you actually face the bullies in your life and how you be honest to your friends, pay attention to their needs, Now, there's another aspect that's been discussed into the book which I really appreciated. It's around the feminism part of it, wherein there is a school beauty pageant going on and the girls are participating in it. Now, according to the pageant, they want them to showcase their beauty, their talents, most probably in form of singing or dancing only. And there is a particular round in this contest which basically is around showcasing your beauty of the body and everything. And one of the girls raises their hand and bashes it out that this is not how we should be judged upon. And I think that's pretty good a message to give out to the kids out there to not be so thoughtful around how they actually look and how they appear, especially around the physical beauty part of it. I think it's a great concept to introduce to kids in such a beautiful form. So there are a lot of things that I actually enjoyed about this book. These were just a few of them which I could explain to you spoiler free. I'm also planning to read this to my niece and I hope she enjoyed this too. And the final book that I read recently is another fantasy book, The Nettle and the Boon by T. Kingfisher. It's one of those magical fantasy tales that includes kingdoms, kings, fairy godmothers, witches, queens, curses, and everything. Now, the story over here is around a family that has three daughters, all of them kept in line to marry the king. The first one marries the king and dies soon after. The second one marries the king and is no longer in good health or shape. Now, she actually reveals to her younger sister what's the reason behind all this and strongly suggests her that she must not marry the king or else she will die too. And that is when the smallest sister, Mara, decides to free her sister from the grasp of this evil king by killing him. Now, the path ahead is definitely not straightforward, and her being a nun and part of the royal family makes it even more difficult to accomplish. But she is strong headed and determined to accomplish that at any given cost. Now, the blurb of the story was interesting, and even the starting and the ending was pretty engaging. But somewhere in the middle, I think the book had a lot of loopholes and too many split outs, let me just say, that were happening. And I was just left questioning that where is this storyline even going? And most of the time, I was like, what's even happening? So to conclude with, this could have been one of my disappointing reads as a fantasy genre, but the starting and the end pretty much saved it. So I ended up rating it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Now I bring to you a series that I just couldn't stop watching, Once Upon a Time. It's actually a pretty old series, started in 2011 on Hotstar. It's actually a combined retelling of all the narrative fairy tales that we have into existence, be it Cinderella, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, and other fairies that we have into the picture. But the show was so engaging and it's so long. It's like 7 seasons with in total of 155-ish episodes that are there till the end. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it, watching so much all the time. Another great series that I recently started watching is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, which is a suspense horror series on Netflix these days. It has recently come out as a Halloween special. I think there were 2 episodes launched every day from 25th onwards to make it a complete season of 8 episodes. Now, there is also a book from the same name, Cabinet of Curiosities, that exists, but the series is not an adaptation to be said of that book. They are two different stories. But now that I'm aware about it, I really want to read it too. And that, my friends, would be a wrap. I'll see you in my next video with some new thoughts and probably some new locations too, as I'm having some travel plans. I will also be taking a quick few here and there reading breaks just to enjoy the travel more. And I hope you all have a warm and wonderful time keeping your coffee strong and your TBR slow. Goodbye.